बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अवल अल्लाह अलीम आला आलम जो धणी कायम पंहिंजी कुदरत सी कायम आहे क़दीम वाली वाहिद वहदहू राज़िक रब रहीम करे पाण करीम जोड़ू जोड़ जहान जो शाह भिटाई।
Foremost, omniscient and supreme is world's Lord, of his own might in his existence since ion old. Mighty Creator, merciful, sustainer, one and only, his praise sing. He planned and perfected the universe. Shabita.
You back to 1956. Imagine in 1956, you're getting on a boat in New York and you're going to Pakistan for the first time in your lifetime with your whole family. A big boat. And you have nobody that you know there except you don't even speak the language, and you are willing and wanting to go spend probably next 20, 30 years of your lifetime to help work with the communities, improve their lives. Ladies and gentlemen, people have done this, and I want you to meet some of our most the famous Sindhis who live in Georgia. They're probably the most oldest living Sindhis in Georgia, Mr. Addleton and Mrs. Addleton. If you would please stand up and join me. Please join me up here. We're going to allow everybody to give, both of them to take about 5 or 10 minutes of your time to talk to you about their experiences in Pakistan. So we really appreciate you coming out and doing this today. Mrs. Addleton just wrote a book, and that book she will talk about, and this is her living through the Pakistan, through these experiences that you're seeing. They have 3 children. David is an attorney in Macon, Georgia. Daughter Nancy is actually an oncologist.
No, she's director of oncology.
She's the director of oncology.
She's not a doctor.
She's not a doctor, okay. And Jonathan, and you see the picture of Jonathan. I think there's a book here, and I'd like for you to see this. The book at the end here. If you would please, take a look at this book, and you would find a small child holding his turban in his hand with shalwar kameez standing in front of an old Sindhi door. That's in Larkana. That's Jonathan. Okay. You're most welcome to buy the book as well. There are plenty of books here. He is the ambassador today to Mongolia, and he's truly very proud to be born in Pakistan. That is correct, right? And so I'll let you go ahead and start with Mrs. Addleton. So she will talk about her life in Pakistan, and then I hope that Mr. Addleton will share with his experiences and talk about his book as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. On this earth, heard a woman can talk about 34 years in any place in 5 minutes. It's not fair, is it? Well, we went there in 1956, and both of us were very young, and we took our oldest son, who was 17 months old. And you'll have to read the book to find out all the experiences I had there, but I want to say that from day one, well, we didn't go to Sindh right away. They sent us up to Murray to study the Sindhi language. Of course, there are no Sindhi speakers in Murray, and so they had to import students from Sindh to come up and to teach us the language. I'm not a very good linguist, and I didn't learn the language that well, but I did learn enough to communicate to all the wonderful, patient Sindhi women that I got to know in those 34 years. And let me say right off, when we went to Sindh, the Sindhi people were just so warm, friendly, and hospitable. And I want to say, and I tell my American friends this, and they say, how on earth could you go there and live in a place like Pakistan? Because you remember 1956. No, you don't remember because most of you weren't born. So there's no way that you could remember what it was like in 1956. But in those days, sugar was rationed. We had to go down and get a card to get sugar for our tea.
Ration now. No different.
Is that right? So I didn't know that. And also all the cloth that you had to make your shalwar kameezes out of, it was imported. They had no cotton mills, and it was just really very, very awkward in those days. In fact, we went the first time for 4 years, and because so little was available in Pakistan, we had to take 4 years of supplies, not food supplies or anything like that, but clothing. And as I said, our son was 17 months old, and can you imagine me trying to plan to take clothing for him for 4 years? I bought socks, and I bought jeans, and I bought underwear and t-shirts, imagining what size he might grow into. But you know, we were there long enough, early enough rather, to see progress come to Pakistan. In those days, it was not long after the British had left, and so foreign women, Pardesi, is that what they called us? Or sometimes they had another word for us in Sindhi, was it Gori? But in those days, we didn't wear Pakistani clothes. I think they thought it was kind of strange, you know, and foreigners wouldn't wear the Pakistani clothes. But I had another friend, and she was from Massachusetts. And so one day we decided that we would go down in the bazaar in Murray, because we were up there for the summer, and we wanted to get a shalwar and kameez made. It was imported silk, beautiful, beautiful, what do you call those dupattas? Really fine dupattas. Chiffon. Chiffon, that's what it was. It was all imported. And I remember mine was pink and gray, mixed up design with a white shalwar and a white kameez, a dupatta. And so one night at one of our gatherings of these English people, we decided that we were going to surprise all our friends, American friends, and we came out in that shalwar, kameez, and dupatta. And we sat over in one corner of the room, you know, and we let them discover us. And we sort of very modestly had our head all covered like the Sindhi women do with their dupatta, you know. And they passed by. At first they didn't recognize us because we were so well covered. But then they recognized us. And I really like to think that after we started wearing the shalwar and kameez, all our friends started wearing them too. And from then on, you know, we felt so comfortable. In fact, I miss wearing those shalwar kameezes. I really do. Now, I never got used to this dupatta. And I noticed that all Pakistani women I know, they have trouble keeping it on their head too. So it didn't bother me. I tried to wear a sari once to a wedding, and I wrapped that thing around me, you know, and I tucked it in like I thought I was supposed to, and like somebody had told me to do. And the first thing I knew, I was walking around on the grass and I stepped on the pleats. Well, you know, you women know what happened. So that carefully folded sari came apart. And so somebody came up and helped me stick it back in. And after that, one of these Pakistani women came and she helped me. She says, you know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to get a big pin, and you're supposed to pin up those pleats and then tuck it in, and you won't have that trouble anymore. So from then on, when and if I wore sari, that's what I did. But I could just talk all night, and I'd love to. But I want to tell you that one thing that I learned in Sindh was how wonderful and friendly the people were to us. And I tell people that I could not have lived happily 34 years in Pakistan if I had not those wonderful friends. And several in particular sort of took me under their wing. And any time that I wanted an interpretation of a certain custom, like a funeral, you know, when somebody in the community died, the first thing I wanted to do was to take a bowl of potato salad. That's what we do in the South. When somebody dies, you start taking food, you know, and potato salad is what we do in the South. And also, we send flowers. Well, they told me right away that was a no-no. You don't send flowers to a funeral. And so various things like that, you know, my friends helped me to, and I hope you Pakistani women, I hope you have American friends who help you to interpret certain customs and so forth in America, and that you find your assimilation and your adjustment to life in America as easily and wonderful as I did when I was in Pakistan. Thank you so much for listening to me.